Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of y'all, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. So this being said, first let me give a shout out to Sinky Beatz, whom I refer to as Stinky Beatz because his tracks are funky. Somebody in the background, I don't know who, is listening to his latest called Full Cycle Rhythm. Anyway, to those who can, punch the Cash App button on your way out of the jet black aircraft after this flight. And it can be for Dwight Hayes if you'd rather, because he's going through it after helping out a co-writer. When I wrote my second to last post in the community tab about men setting boundaries, I was not in any way referring to men's inability or any black man's inability to set boundaries. I was referring to the Western sisters' inability to recognize the boundaries or the validity of those boundaries. You are dealing with a toxic crop of women if you live in the West and you involve yourself in any sort of dating or mating or marriage. Whether it's just the hookup, which we Muslims are not allowed to endorse, or if it is full-on marriage. And that is if it involves the state or it does not involve the state. You are not allowed at any point to actually set boundaries that they have to respect. It is similar to the Dred Scott decision, and they have all convened and they've taken up this decision as if they're the Supreme Court, and they have stated that a black man has no rights, which a Western woman or any woman is bound to respect. Right now it's the Western woman, and they want to export this, period. Now they will do the same thing. I'm not telling you that the white women don't do the same thing to their men. They do, and they're trying to export this as well. I think they're trying to think maybe they're focusing on different areas of the globe and in different spheres. I'm pretty sure that Stephanie Riberos got her feminism from sisters in the States. Others in the same country from which she comes probably got theirs from Wyatt women. But the point is that this is not about you or some sort of inability that you have, or you're setting the boundaries the wrong way. I'm not talking about that. That's not a right way to set boundaries. That's what I'm telling you. If you don't have a particular look to you, you can't set boundaries, and they respect them. And if you have this particular look to you, but they get familiar with you and they come to see that you're not a dangerous fire-breathing nigger dragon, then you still don't get to maintain those boundaries that you set, even if she previously respected them. She can lose respect she previously had for the boundaries you set. She cannot gain a respect that she ever lost or never had before. She cannot go from not respecting your boundaries to respecting them. She cannot go from one to the other, but she can go from respecting them to not respecting them. You can always go down in her eyes. It's up you can't go. And this is what I've been telling you. It was already a lose-lose scenario. You're already facing a catch-22. You can't be blamed for a catch-22 that you've been facing through no fault of your own. You never did anything to put yourself into a catch-22. It was like that from jump. What do you think I meant when I said it's a rigged game? What do you think others before me meant when they said this was a rigged game? Both those in the white manosphere and those in the black manosphere. This is what they meant. It's a rigged game. There was no right way to go about this. Maybe if you're 6 feet plus, with muscles and tats and some felonies and some baby mamas, you might be able to set boundaries and they respect them. And even then, they want you in situations like that because they can control you with a 3-digit phone call that's very free. And they can be holding a knife to you and guess who shows up and shoots you because it's been done before? And that man, I don't even think had any felonies. I believe that was a case in Ohio, where he told his son to call the police and wait for them, and they came in and took him out. See, what you don't understand is that you've been facing a scenario in which her attitude towards you was so bad, even without romance being involved, that when racists put up their racist websites like chimpout.com, which is so racist it's censored here in this country where I am, that when they start talking about you, the man, they have to lie. But when they start talking about her, the Western sister that's on your back with a knife to your throat while you tell your son to call the police, they don't even have to do much lying. They don't have to look for and make up a lot of stuff. See, if you have a non-stereotypical look or behaviors, either one, your boundaries aren't boundaries. They're suggestions to her. As far as she's concerned, they are pathetic pleadings. It's the same to her. And it doesn't matter if you were non-stereotypical in your behavior or in your appearance. Either one, you're Urkel to her. There's no in-between with her. Sisters are already not taught to look at you with any sort of nuance that can work in your favor. And that can always work against you. But nuance already being kryptonite to the Negro, including the Negress, cannot work in your favor in her eyes. Only against you. So if there's any gray area, and we're human, so there must be, she can't see the chump and the weakling that you are not. She only looks and says, well, if there's nuance, then that just means he's not Superman. He's not a bulletproof gorilla with a cape on, terrorizing massa. As far as she is concerned, you are either the Negro of massa's nightmares, or you're a wimp and a weakling. And you deserve to be a dishwasher. And that's why I've been saying to these, telling you that when these men start talking about you not tolerating stuff and having boundaries, they're right. When they start talking about how you need to do this, that, and the other to set boundaries that sisters can respect, or that even Western white women can respect, that's when they need to fuck the shuck up. Because see, all they're going to do is reverse pimp you and tell you what you need to pay to them. You need to pay them this amount of money and that amount of money. And by the way, as you pay them this money and you pay them that money, you then need to turn around and take extra money and pay it to some clothing store. You pay them for them to tell you to spend money with clothing stores and at a car dealership to keep up appearances. Because your substance is never going to be enough. And if your substance will never be enough, it doesn't matter not only what boundaries you set, it doesn't matter how you set these boundaries. Sisters will not stop with the crap test. Western women in general have the crap test. Women in general may have a crap test, but sisters do not stop. And when a Becky or a Karen or an Amber has been around sisters for too long, she won't stop even when she's dealing with a brother. Now, on her own, she may never stop when she's dealing with a Brad. It's sisters that don't crap test Brad that much. Becky crap tests Brad endlessly. And Dr. Tia-San Johnson has talked about this, where sisters will crap test you and they keep doing it because they never learn to stop. They never learn that you don't tolerate the crap. They never learn that your boundaries are actually real. That's what it is. I was never talking about your inability to set boundaries. I was talking about her inability to understand them and see that they're actually boundaries, and to see you as being worthy to set boundaries. When someone cannot understand that it is okay for you to set boundaries, they can't even understand that you're right for setting the same boundaries they would set. That's contempt. That is someone that believes in your inferiority wholesale. Is that not our relationship with the white supremacist power structure that forms the context of our lives in North America? They can't tolerate you setting boundaries. They can't tolerate you having them. They can't tolerate you asserting your humanity and your equality. And they get mad when you do, and they can't learn to stop. It's the same thing with her. She can't learn to stop. So when she crap tests you and you pass the test, she doesn't say, okay, now we can move forward. I know it's boundaries. No, it's more like, okay, I need to find another way to crap test him. Keep looking for a chink in her armor somewhere. I need to keep doing that. Because she can't accept that you are even right for having boundaries that you set. So all they got to do is keep on being more of a B word and a bigger B word collectively to us collectively. And along will come these dating roaches and game coaches and game champions and preachers, pastors of swag. And they will come along and say, this is how you keep your B word in check, and charge you money to do it. Never telling you that that's not the way this works. I am not telling you to harm any of these women. I am not telling you to put the pimp hand down on them. Save that for self-defense. What I'm telling you is to leave them. Your very act of leaving is having an effect. I am waiting on my passport. I can finally track and see its update. It's been approved and it's in the queue to be issued, and I'm still waiting on that one. In the process of waiting, I wanted to point this out to you if I can. People are beginning to ask me why it is. My students, especially the males, are beginning to ask me why American men want to leave the West. Why do American men want to leave not just the U.S., but the West? And I'm telling them, it's because we can gain skills, we can be responsible, we can do all of this, but we cannot have families. We can't even be treated normally by the women. I told them, you are now in this environment. This is your first time in which the men and the women are studying in the same classrooms from the same teacher. This is your first time going through this. And you are handling this well. You are respecting the women. The women are generally respecting you. There has not been one accusation of harassment at the academy in which I am now teaching these adults who are sitting next to each other, the opposite gender, for the first time. Many of them have said it was awkward in the beginning, but we saw that they didn't hate us. The guys were like, we saw that the women didn't hate us, and the women were saying we saw that the men didn't hate us. And so they're able to be nice to each other. And so they could cooperate academically and leave each other alone personally. Now, this was important. I had to tell them, you're in a situation in which this is new to you and you know how to behave towards each other. We're in situations in which for generations we've been sitting in classrooms next to them, working with them for decades now, working next to them for decades. All of these things. And what we're seeing is that what we're noticing is that the women are losing respect for the men. And there's no right way for the men to behave as far as the women are concerned. But we also have been taught to never have standards for them to behave. So they're allowed to be as childish and as goofy as they want to be. They can get dates and DMs now with social media, get approaches, all of this stuff. So men are cheap to them. On the flip side, there's no right way for us to behave as far as they are concerned. Forget being chosen by them. They don't even have a respect unless we leave them. And some of them have so little respect for us that if they see men they don't know and the men don't even see them, they want to hurt these men. So accusations are a major problem. Now, these things are popping up here in the kingdom, especially in Riyadh. Extortion, false accusations are a phenomena about which people know, but it's not lurking around the corner for them all the time. And so what you are doing, gentlemen, what I'm telling you is that your act of leaving is powerful. Silence. Being towards the ladies the way that they bragged about being towards you. You are now acting towards these ladies the way that men and women have been told to behave towards each other in our faith. You keep it professional. You keep it to what's necessary, and then you move on. You're willing to be nice and speak politely to them. You're willing to help if asked, but with witnesses. You are now obeying, and I mean collectively, you are now obeying standards of modesty that are teaching them lessons. You have a wall now past which they can't break. Some of you are not shaking their hands at the job, and I'm with you in that. Even when you're nice, you may not shake their hands. That's good. It's teaching them a lesson that you can have standards too. When one of them was told by Fresh and Fit, whom I don't support and back up per se, but when one was told by Fresh and Fit that being an SLUT means that she can attract men that are not going to commit to her, but she can attract them to try to smash, and that's it. And she cried. I said, okay, that actually is a good lesson for her to learn. But a bigger and better lesson is being taught by more men to more women. And that is, all bets are off. We work together. We might be classmates, but we are not going to be more than that. I'm not getting into your personal business, and you're not welcome in mine. This sends a powerful message. Because now Angry Guy has clips in which they're either talking about you leaving or asking you to come back and not leave. Good job, gentlemen. Job well done. Stay on track and don't let anybody come along and tell you that you just needed to learn how to set boundaries. Yeah, people need to know how to do it, but most of us do. When they come and they start telling you that you need to learn how, you explain to them most people know how to set boundaries. The issue is not how to set them. The issue is that she can't understand them. Therefore, let me not waste time, sir. I got a job to do, and I got a country to go to. Thank you again for listening. As always, black heart, black mind, blackout, assalamu alaikum, and black heterosexual, non-select male power just because they don't like it, and black patriarchy until extinction of Judgment Day. Thank you again for flying with me on Jet Black Airways, where jet black is also a verb. Keep jetting black with me till the wings and the wheels fall off and the flaps give out. Gender, justice, forever. And don't forget the Cash App button on your way out of the craft if you're capable. Till next time.